Good morning, scholars. Today we're going to continue our way through Far's Homeric Greek, a book for beginners, looking at the vocabulary for Iliad 1, lines 22 through 27. So we begin with the adverb 辉, which of place means there or in that place, but often it can as well, look at to, refer to of time, then, at that time, now. ἐνθα pantes ἐπ-ευ-φημέω kakoi. So here we have it referring to time, and often adverbs like this in Greek will have a reference to place or to time. So ἐνθα can mean either there in that place, or then at that time, or now. ἐπ-ευ-φημέω, ἐπ-ευ-φημέω means to assent, to speak approvingly, and when it's followed by an infinitive, as here, it means their voice was to respect. They assented, they all agreed approvingly that they should respect the priest. So, 辉 pantes ἐπ-ευ-φημέω kakoi, aοιδεσ διαιρέα, kai ἀγλαό δέχθαι ἀπ-ί-ημῐ. So, ἀյδέομαι is what's called an epsilon contract verb, which we'll talk about later, but it means, generally speaking, to be ashamed or to dread, to be abashed. But here, look at to, with the accusative of the person, it means to stand in awe of anyone, to venerate, to reverence, to honor. So our passage, aοιδεσ διαιρέα, to honor the priest. And then we have δέχθαι. Δέχθαι here is the second aorist infinitive, a syncopated form where the sigma is made to disappear. And here the second aorist behaves like a µ verb. Elsewhere, Homer employs the first aorist δέχθαι, and δέχω, of course, means to accept. And here, as we'll talk about soon, we have the infinitive in indirect discourse. So next, the adjective ἀγλαός, ἀγλαέ, ἀγλαών, which means glittering, splendid, or beautiful. It's spoken of hudor, of the sparkling of water, and in these early passages, ἀπ-ί-ημῐ, the splendid ransom. So ἀγλαό δέχθαι ἀπ-ί-ημῐ. Now, of course, Ἀγαμέμνων, well known to most, the son of Atreus and brother of Menelaus, the king of Mycenae and Argos, and he was the grandson of Pelops and the great-grandson of Tantalus. He also bears the epithets of Pantaleos and Tantalides. He was the generalissimo, the lead commander of the Trojan expedition, and sacrificed, or intended to sacrifice, his daughter Iphigenia at Aulis in Boeotia, in order to procure a favorable wind for the fleet, because somehow he had pissed off Artemis. He quarreled with Achilles about the maid Briseis, and that is what we'll be reading about soon. Now, this is a wonderful death mask that Schliemann found at the site of Mycenae. Of course, he assumed, hopefully, wishfully, that it was the face of Ἀγαμέμνων he was looking at, but later analysis proved, I believe, that these artifacts he recovered were from an earlier period than Agamemnon's. But nevertheless, this is a beautiful artifact that is in, I believe, the National Museum in Athens. Okay, ἀνδάνω. ἀνδάνω is a word that means to please, to gratify, to be agreeable, and it's used impersonally with the dative of the person who it agrees to. So, if you look down with where it says with two datives, that's the construction we have here. And the example they supply is oud aiante hedane dumoi hestamen. It pleased not Ajax in his heart. And dumoi is a local dative, and that's what we have in our passage as well. So thῡmos, what's the thῡmos? Thῡmos is that which moves and animates in men. It is the heart, the soul as the seat of feeling, will, and thought, but always regarded as in motion. So in Plato's Republic, the guardians are characterized by their thῡmos. They have energy to defend the state. And so in many places, here's the bottom part of this, we find thūmoi, the dative of place, and that refers to in the inmost heart. So, al-uk Ἀγαμέμνονι al-uk atreide Ἀγαμέμνονι 헨δάνε dumoi. We have, that's where we see the 헨δάνε dumoi, and we'll talk about what's going on there more closely when we actually do the passage. But we have in this al-κακῶς ἀπ-ί-ημῐ, al-κακῶς ἀπ-ί-ημῐ, and so kakos is a form of the adverbs of manner. So Smythe 343, adverbs of manner ending in omega sigma, have the accent and form of the genitive plural masculine with sigma in place of nu. So to look at the first couple examples, dikaios, just, the genitive plural would be dikaion, and so the adverb justly would be dikaios, following that accent of the genitive plural, but substituting sigma for the nu. And so kakos, the genitive is kakon, and so the adverbial form kakos, ill or badly, wretchedly, kakos, and so on. You can examine the rest of these examples at your leisure. Ahaplos, sapos, hedeos, sophrosonos, alos, pantos, ontos. ἀφ-ί-ημῐ is one of our troublesome irregular me verbs, and so I'm starting you off easy here with just the singulars of the first, second, and third person of the present, the imperfect, and the second aorist. So you see in the presents, ἐπ-ευ-φημέω, ἰες, and ἴεσαι, and in the imperfect, which is what we're looking at here, ἰέν, ίες, ΙΕ. Now it's important to realize that here, 777D, in Homer, ἐπ-ευ-φημέω usually has an initial short iota, whereas in Attic, as we see from Smythe's markings in this display of the paradigm, you will find the iota to be long. And so, al-κακῶς ἀπ-ί-ημῐ, we see the short to fit our meter. But he sent him away, wickedly, evilly, poorly, in a shabby fashion. Kakos can be translated in many different ways here. Now, műthos, from which we get our word myth, but műthos is a discourse or a word as opposed to ergon, a deed. It can be a public discourse, a narration, conversation, but here at C, this is what we have here: bidding, command, commission, counsel. So műthos, bidding, command, commission, counsel. So krateron depi műton etelen. So here we have τέλλω or ἐπί-τέλλω, which means to add in addition. So we have our very passage here quoted. He says, thus in Thémesis, we'll say something about that later, krateron depi műton etele, and he has the Latin, asperam ei vocem tam quam onus imposuit, a harsh to him word like a load he placed upon. So, translated into English, he spoke in addition in harsh speech. Krateron depimuton etelen. Now, we're going to need our personal pronouns coming up soon, or at least some of them. So I give you here again, from Smythe 325, the singulars of the first and second person pronouns. So you see, of the first person, you have ego, and then you have emphatic and less emphatic enclitic forms of the genitive, dative, and accusative. ἐμου, or simply mu, ἐμόι, or simply moi, ἐμέ, or simply me. And likewise with the singular of the second person, thou, or we would just say you, su, 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 with a circumflex, su enclitic, soi with the acute, soi enclitic, se with the acute, and se enclitic. So these are good to just start doing repetition drills with, so that you can get these down, because we'll see in our passage coming up both ego, the nominative singular of the first person, and se, the accusative of the second person singular. Now we have the other negation in Greek. We have me. And the simple negative particles are ou and me. Ou is the negative of fact and statement. It contradicts or denies. Me, however, is the negative of the will and thought. It rejects or deprecates. The difference between the simple negatives holds true of their compounds, ute, mete, ude, mede, udes, medes. So, Smythe explains in greater detail at 2, 6, 8, 9. Me is the negative of will and thought. Me, as the negative of will and thought, is used in various expressions involving emotion, such as commands, prohibitions, wishes, hopes, prayers, petitions, promises, oaths, asseverations, and the like. So this is why we see a lot of me's in our passage, because there are a lot of commands and prohibitions and wishes going on. It occurs in expressions marking condition, purpose, effort, apprehension, cautious assertion, surmise, and fear. It occurs in setting forth ideality, mere conceptions, and abstractions, as opposed to reality or to definite facts. And it marks ideas as general and typical. So you're going to see me, and you'll get used to it, as opposed to ou, but this is a very subtle distinction that Greek has. When a person or thing is characterized as conceived rather than as real, you have me as well. So me is used not merely when the above notions are apparent, but also when they are latent. Greek often conceives of a situation as marked by feeling or ideality, where English regards it as one of fact, and hence uses me where we should expect ou. And this is akin to the general disappearance of the optative and subjunctive from English. We just have flattened everything into indicatives. Okay. So kikano, and it occurs in deponent form kikanomai as well. And it means to come across, look at 2, to hit, to meet with, or to find. So our passage, tena para neuse, to find someone among the ships. So me segeron koile sin ego para neuse kikeo. And here we see the me because this is a warning, something replete with emotion. And it's an idea of a situation that Ἀγαμέμνων hopes does not happen for the priest's sake. Me segeron koile sen ego para neuse kikeo. Okay, so nun is the word which means now, immediately, at once, equivalent to Latin nunc, properly spoken of the immediate present, and opposed to ύστερον in our passage here. Ύστερον, later, subsequently, versus nun, now. So a is a conjunction indicating either exclusion or diversity, but here we have it in the disjunctive sentences where this repetition a means either or. So Ἀγαμέμνων says, me kikeo, me se kikeo, don't let me find you, nun de thuont, ύστερον αοιότις ιόντα. So the a, either or, not either now or later. Then we have παρανέουσε, par with the par, para, parai, and Homer can have these alternative forms so that he has the flexibility to set it within his meter. And par with the dative is spoken of as spatially in marking continuance, i.e. being beside or right near an object or person. So it translates by, near, at, or before. So we have the examples, ēstai, to set, para klisie, to set by the tent, or menein para aleloisen, to remain near one another, or aedein para nestersen, to sing by or before the suitors. So here we have Ἀγαμέμνων speaking of ἐπ-ευ-φημέω, beside the ships. So δεituno is a verbal form derived from the adjective deita, or equals dein, which means long, a long time. You know, he worked on the car deita, dein, for a long time. So δεituno means to delay or loiter or to linger. So nun δεituont, ύστερον αοιότις ιόντα. ύστερος, we've already talked about. In the neuter singular, look down towards the end. It means afterwards or in the future, ύστερον, and the same thing can be done with the neuter plural. We often have neuter plurals and neuter singulars. Both can function as adverbial forms. αοιότις is a lengthened form of αό, which means again or back. So hereafter at a subsequent time. So that's what we have here. nun de thunta, aοιότις ιόντα, ύστερον αοιότις ιόντα. So what's ἰόντα? Ϊόντα is a present participle of ἐῆμαι, to go, and this is another one of those vexing irregular µ verbs, and the participle has the forms ον, ύσα, ον. We're going to treat these participles very soon in a couple of lessons, but nevertheless, right now we have in front of us, I give just the singular, and these endings will be recognizable to you as a combination of the third declension endings in the masculine and neuter, and the first declension endings in the feminine. So ον, όνtos, όντε, όντα, ύσα, ύσες, ύσαι, ύσαν, ον, όνtos, όντε, ον. And remember, in the neuter, the nominative and accusative are always identical. And this participle is accented like the second aorist participle, and you can consult Smythe 305A for the details of the full declension. But right now, we have in our passage the accusative, the singular accusative masculine, ionta. Okay, so that's it for the vocabulary of lines 22 through 27. I thank you for being interested, and I hope to see you soon. Have a good afternoon. Goodbye.